So today we're gonna unlock the fretboard together to make it way less confusing by breaking it down into bite-sized chunks for you. And this is going to be super simple and basically dummy safe. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm Beatrix Kovac. I'm a professional classical guitarist with a master's degree specialized in guitar education. And basically my job here is to simplify difficult concepts for you so you can study less and play more. First, let's talk about notes. There are 12 unique notes in Western music, and these notes repeat in a cycle across the fretboard. And it's important to remember that after the G note, it cycles back to A and repeats over and over again. These 12 notes are divided into tones and semitones, and we need to talk about them too briefly. A semitone, also known as a half step, is the smallest interval in Western music. It is basically the difference between two adjacent keys on the piano or two adjacent frets on the guitar. So for example, the distance between C and C sharp is going to be a semitone. Then a tone, also known as a whole step, consists of two semitones, and it is basically the distance between two keys of the piano where you have one black key in between them, or the distance between two frets on the guitar where you have one fret in between them. So basically the interval between C and D is going to be a tone because you can squeeze a C sharp in between them. Now, on the guitar, the interval between B and C and E and F is going to be a natural half step, meaning there is no need for an additional fret in between these notes. Just don't ask why. But the best visual representation to this would be the gap between white keys on the piano where no black key exists. So what this means in practice is that on the fretboard, B to C and E to F are just directly adjacent with no additional sharp or flat notes in between them. That's all you need to know. So the 12 notes are divided into semitones or half steps, and each fret you move up represents one semitone, right? So moving from the first fret to the second fret is going to be a semitone or half step. But moving from the first fret to the third fret is going to be a full tone or a whole step. For example, if this is our A in the second fret, our A sharp is going to be one semitone up, right, in the third fret. But if this is our B, then our B flat is going to be one semitone lower. So basically here. And this means that A sharp and B flat are going to be in the same position. And now in short, they are essentially the same note or the same pitch on the guitar, but named differently depending on the musical context. Now you know everything important to start with, but how do you put this knowledge into practice, right? Okay, let's see some exercises, shall we? I think you should start by playing scales on just one single string, just one string, and verbalize all the notes you play. And this will help you to get familiar with the notes and their positions on the fretboard, but also practice playing scales across the strings, similarly with saying the names of the notes out loud. This will improve your fretboard navigation and help you see the connection between the different strings. For example, let's pick the A string again. We go A and we verbalize it, and then the next note A sharp or B flat, B, C, C sharp or D flat, and so on until, until you reach at least the 12th fret. Also, you can give yourself an exercise to only play the full notes. So for example, A, and then the next one is B, C, D, and so on. Okay, so give yourself some exercises and give yourself some tasks and follow up with them, and make sure you say the names of the notes out loud. Make sure to do this on each of the strings, and try starting from different positions too. Maybe you choose, I don't know, the E string. You don't have to necessarily start from, from fret 0, from the open string. You can also say, okay, I'm gonna start from here, and try to figure out what note you are on, where exactly you are, and follow up from there. You say, okay, this is a G sharp, so now maybe give yourself a task that I'm gonna play full steps from here. Okay, this is gonna be an A sharp. This is gonna be a C. See, so you can test yourself, and you can give lots of different exercises for yourself. And be sure to do this exact same exercise across the strings. So let's say I want to go and play full steps, or the full notes, the main notes of our 12-note scale, starting from the open E. We know that between E and F we have a natural half step. So this is gonna be my next note, then F to G. Now we need an A, and I could go here, but we said we go across the strings, so I go here to the next open string. B, C. For the D I could go here, but we're going again across the strings, so we go here. And you can do this with full steps, you can do this with half steps, and you can give yourself different positions to start from. It really doesn't matter, as long as you challenge yourself a bit differently every time you practice. You're going to gain more confidence on the fretboard over time. Another good thing to do is to just play altered notes, and that's a fun challenge, to just try and skip all the main notes like A, B, C, and only play altered notes, like only sharps, A sharp, I don't know, C sharp, whatever, and then try the same with flats only. By the way, if this is anything helpful, please consider to support my work on Patreon. I make educational videos all the time, just like this one, and basically that's how I fund the channel, pay the editor, and so on. So yeah, please check it out and consider becoming a supporter of the channel. Thank you. Now here's a handy tip. On the 5th fret, on each strings, the notes are the same as the note on the string, one string up. Oh my god, except for G. So for example, if you play the 5th fret on the E string, it's gonna be an A, which is the next string, next open string. If I play the 5th fret on the A, it's gonna give me a D note, which is gonna be the open string, one string up. Similarly, 5th fret on the D string is giving me a G, which is one fret up, and one fret up. But here we have to go to the 4th fret. On G string, we go to the 4th fret, and this is gonna give us a B, which is our next open string up. And finally, again, in the 5th fret on the B string, we're gonna get an E, which is our next open string. Okay, this is just a great reference point to find notes quickly, because let's say you want to know what note is, I don't know, is this one. You don't have to count up from the 1st fret. You can just go from the 5th fret, because you already know that in the 5th fret on the E string we have an A. So you can just count up A, B, C. Okay, so it's gonna make counting and finding notes faster. And this also shows that you can find the same pitched note on multiple places across the guitar. So for example, this E is going to be the same as this one, and going to be the same as this one, and going to be the same as this one. Okay, so another great exercise is to just pick a note, any note, and try to find each of the positions for the exact same pitch. So when you go and try to find all the E, as I said, you have also an E here, but it's not the same pitch. Okay, it's not the same pitch, it's lower, it's in a different cycle, so it doesn't count. But it's also fun, you know, if you say that, oh, I'm gonna find all the E notes across the guitar. That's a fun exercise too, and it's helpful. And another thing worth keeping in mind that can help you find notes faster and make your life easier on the guitar is to know that our outer strings are basically the same. So this E and this E are going to be the same notes, but in different pitches. But this also means that each of the positions for the same pitch are going to be the same on these strings. So if I have a G here, it also means that I'm also going to have a G here. It's just going to be a lower pitch. If I'm having a B here, it also means that we have a B here, and so on across the whole fretboard. So these two strings, the outer strings, are going to be the same in terms of their layout. Putting all this into sheet music for a second, the standard tuning of a guitar from lowest string to the highest is going to be E, A, D, G, B, and finally E again. So these notes are going to correspond to these lines and spaces in the sheet music. So if I see this A in the sheet music, I can play this open string or I can play this one because they are the same pitch. But I can't play this A, even though it's an A again. I can't play it because it's a different pitch and it'll be written differently in the sheet music. Remember, learning the notes on your guitar or reading sheet music and translating it to the fretboard is a skill that improves over time and with consistent practice. So just don't get discouraged if it feels challenging at first. Just try to break it down into manageable steps and celebrate your progress along the way. Now, understanding these basics will make the fretboard much less daunting and help you play with greater confidence for sure, but now you also need to work on your technique to unleash your full potential at guitar playing. So watch this video next, and I will see you there. Bye.